Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a preview of the 2015-2016 NFL playoffs. For the next few minutes, we will be going through the matchups for the next 4 weeks of the NFL playoffs, giving predictions and scenarios of how those matchups will go through. First, we will be discussing the Seattle Seahawks going to the Minnesota Vikings in the first matchup in the wild card round. The Seattle Seahawks are riding a high wave of momentum with an explosive offense over the past few weeks with Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett. They might get Marshawn Lynch back. But the Minnesota Vikings also boast a very, very strong and diverse offense as well, with Mike Wallace, Cordell Patterson, Stephon Diggs, the rookie, and obviously Adrian Peterson. With Adrian Peterson, they open up that dynamic because we know Adrian Peterson is going to be starting. We know he will get the ball. So giving him 15, 20 touches will most likely help them get to the push, and then also starts to push Cam Chancellor to that center field to step in the box to keep Adrian under 100 yards. And it makes one-on-one matchups with two speedsters of Cordell Patterson and Mike Wallace very, very difficult. So now they have to choose. Who do they stop, Adrian or the speedsters? In this matchup, most likely the big key is going to be, how does the defense of both teams fare? Seattle is boasting one of the top 5 defenses, probably the best defense in points per game allowed. Minnesota's got a very good defense, as they demonstrated against Green Bay last week. So this is a very, very dangerous team. But in the prediction, I'm going to go with the championship-winning defense in Seattle. I think that their offense can be a little more consistent. I think the rookie tendencies or the young tendencies of Teddy Bridgewater might cause him, because this is his first playoff appearance, he might make some key mistakes, especially against Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, and Earl Thomas. This might be a time where the rookie mentality will catch up to him and he will make some key mistakes. So Seattle, I have winning that round of the playoffs. In the next matchup in the playoffs, I have the Green Bay Packers going to the Washington Redskins. Now, Green Bay has not been playing well. Their offense has been less explosive than it's known to be with Jordy Nelson in the previous years. James Jones hasn't been catching passes that often. Randall Cobb hasn't been consistent. Javonte Adams, not consistent hands. He's been dropping a lot of passes. And their running game has been near pathetic. They have Eddie Lacy, who, after a good year or two, has fallen off, gained a few pounds, not running as well as he should. James Stark has come in and actually has picked up the running game, but you never know who's going to get those touches. Aaron Rodgers hasn't even been playing too hot, and so in that way, you almost have to wonder, the limit for their points might be around like 15, 16 points. They may not get a lot of touchdowns. This might come on the leg of Mason Crosby here. Now in Washington, they've been playing hot. They've just brought in their backup quarterback for the start of the season, and he started off rough, but he's coming up hot right now. Kirk Cousins, he's got some good receivers. Pierre Garçon, he's got Deshaun Jackson, Alfred Morris. You never know how many touches he's going to get. He's been up and down. And then he's got the big guy, Jordan Reed, at tight end, and he's been getting a lot of touches. So in that case, there's an edge there in offense. The only problem is both the defenses for Green Bay and Washington are pretty much even. And so in this matchup, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Washington Redskins, and I say that they will advance. to the divisional round of the playoffs. Now, for the AFC side of this, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers going to the Cincinnati Bengals. This matchup we've seen twice already in the regular season. It's gone both ways. They both hold a 1-1 record in the division against each other. It's been mixed. When Cincinnati won, it was a one-possession game. When Cincinnati lost, when Andy Dalton went down with a broken thumb, they were down by 2 possessions when that game ended, but it was fairly close before A.J. McCarron threw an interception. Now, because A.J. McCarron is most likely going to be the quarterback in this case, there is a chance that this doesn't go out too well for the Bengals. But the Bengals do have the most ultimate crutch. They've got a good defense, and they can run the ball. They've got Gio Bernard. They've got Jeremy Hill. They can run that ball. They don't have to make A.J. McCarron throw 30 times. If they give those touches to Gio Bernard and Jeremy Hill, we could see them going for a long time. Time of possession will be in their favor in this matchup. They've got A.J. Green, but again, with limit of A.J. McCarron, you don't know how many touches A.J. Green's going to get. Now, for the Steelers, they've been inconsistent. They have been very, very inconsistent. Now, part of that is because they've had 3 different quarterbacks starting for them the whole season. They had Ben, he goes down. They had Mike Vick, he goes down. Then they had Landry, he actually gets pulled out because Ben was healthy again. But, Ben hasn't been playing as consistently, a lot of interceptions. They've had some explosive moments. They are a very, very dangerous offense, but only if they get on rhythm. They may stumble their way through if they make it through the playoffs. They don't have their top-tier running back of Le'Veon Bell. They're going with D'Angelo Williams, and he has an ankle injury. He may not be in the game against the Bengals. So in a way, this looks like it's a game that the Bengals at home could win. And I believe they will win this one. So they will advance into the divisional round, and the next matchup is the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Houston Texans. Now, Kansas City has a dominant defense, and they've been playing real good, and you go back to that Week 10 matchup against probably one of the best in the NFL, in Peyton Manning, and he got destroyed. So many sacks. I can't even remember the counting of that. 4 interceptions to against Peyton Manning. They benched him. They pretty much put him on the bench. This defense, and we're talking, they did that to the best, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. What are they going to do to Brian Hoyer or Brandon Weeden, whoever's starting for him? What are they going to do to those guys? I like Brian Hoyer. I think he's a good quarterback. He might have a few more years on him before they go and find a younger guy, but I think Brian Hoyer might have met his match against Kansas City, because we know that Kansas City offense is not going to be 30 points a game. It's not going to be 500, 400 yards of passing offense. It's going to be probably about 200, maybe 250 of passing yards, and it's going to be about 2 touchdowns. Alex Smith does not shoot the ball downfield too often. He's going to hit the ball underneath to Jeremy Maclin, and he's going to hit his tight end a lot. But he's not going to stretch that field too much. And their running game, they're going to have to pick up the pace with Jamal Charles being out, with Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware. They're going to have to go with those guys a little bit. But to be honest, this is going to be a matchup where the Kansas City Chiefs could potentially walk all over the Houston Texans. They snuck into the playoffs. The Texans snuck into the playoffs. But this is a matchup where the Chiefs will send the Texans home real early in the playoff run. So the Chiefs will advance. And so for the next round of the playoffs, we have in the NFC, we have the Carolina Panthers hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Actually, this matchup happened earlier in the season, and the Panthers actually did a very, very good job. Um, and that was one of their key matchups on their way to an undefeated season, or nearly undefeated season. They went out with 14 wins. Now, the Panthers do boast a pretty, it's almost an unpredictable offense. No one saw this offense coming. Ted Ginn, no one saw that Ted Ginn was going to have an explosive second half of the season. No one really expected much from the Carolina Panthers offense because Calvin Benjamin went down with an ACL in the preseason. Obviously, you got Greg Olsen there, but, one man can't do everything unless you're Gronkowski. So in that case, what's your who do you play? It's like you got no number one receiver. Devin Funchess is a rookie, but you know, he's a rookie. He's not top tier. He's not AJ Green. He's not Calvin Benjamin. He's no. He's just the number two that had to be pushed into number one. Then they brought in Ted Ginn, and then Ted Ginn with his speed. Somehow he's still a speedster, and he's still running downfield wide open on people. They've got that going for him. And Seattle, yeah, it's going to be a close matchup. I think it's going to be a battle of two defenses. But I think in this matchup, it's going to go Carolina favor. I think this one is statistically the Panthers have probably the better of the defenses. They've got a good pass rush. They've got a good second half. Obviously, these two teams are almost parallel. They're pretty much similar. But I think that I'd put the weight on Cam Newton's power and mobility over Russell Wilson's mobility in this case, and I'd probably give the edge to the Carolina Panthers. For the next matchup, we have the Washington Redskins traveling to the Arizona Cardinals in another divisional round matchup. I think the Redskins, they did sneak in because that NFC East division is just a weak division. They snuck into the playoffs with with a very normal record, about an average record. But to be honest, this is men among boys. The Washington Redskins, good team. They're young, they're developing, but this isn't their year. I think the Arizona Cardinals, possibly in a blowout, walk all over the Washington Redskins and advance to the conference championship game. Then for the AFC, we have the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Denver Broncos. Earlier I discussed this in Week 10. The Kansas City Chiefs destroyed Peyton Manning, forced Brock Osweiler into the game. Now, we don't know who the coaching staff is going to start. We probably can assume it's going to be Peyton Manning after they benched Brock Osweiler in Week 17. But we don't know. We don't know if Peyton Manning is going to be healthy enough, or if we don't know if he's going to be playing scared or seeing ghosts, that now they've got Tama Ali and all these other guys, Justin Houston. They can all come at these guys. This is a powerful front seven, and these guys could easily dominate the game again. And I really do think that this could be another kind of upset alert. Even though the Broncos have this potential for high offense, I think this is going to be another upset where the Chiefs will go to the AFC Championship game next week. And then for the final matchup of the divisional round, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going to Foxborough to meet the New England Patriots. Now with the Bengals, good season. We still don't know. Probably we know for the wild card it's probably going to be AJ McCarron. But what we don't know is for the divisional round, is Andy Dalton going to be healthy enough? If he is going to be healthy enough, will they start him? Potentially. We can go back to last year after the Patriots lost to the Chiefs. They went on to a Monday night game against the Bengals and beat the Bengals. They took the Bengals behind the woodshed. It was just a bad day for the Bengals. Now, that being said, The Patriots haven't had a consistent guy on offense besides Gronkowski. Tom Brady has been hit too many times. His offensive line is nearly non-existent. Now Bill Belichick can fix it. He's got the mind for it. He's probably one of the best coaches in the NFL, in NFL history even. But there's so many things you can fix with your mind and with your schemes, and then there's also the fact that there's only so many things you can fix with your mind. And then when you put muscle against muscle, the best guy is gonna come out on top. It's not gonna come down to, this offensive line it's a makeshift offensive line. They were able to get going for about half the season, and it just fell apart. They started to show some cracks in the armor against Philadelphia, and then later on against Miami and New York. So this is a dangerous matchup, and I think the defense of Cincinnati, with all of their pass rushers, I think they're going to take this one. I think they're going to take an upset, and I think the AFC is going to have two upset teams in the AFC Championship game. We're going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals over the New England Patriots. Then for the NFC Championship game, we have the Arizona Cardinals going to the Carolina Panthers. Now, here's what I say about this. This matchup is a battle of two defenses. The NFC is notorious for putting good defenses on the docket. They are good at putting good defenses on the marquee. And we know that the Carolina Panthers have a good offense. They have a pretty good offense. It's kind of unpredictable, but they've got a pretty good offense. But we also know the Arizona Cardinals have probably one of the best offenses. They can spread the ball. Fitzgerald, Brown, the list goes on. They also have a pretty good running back this year in David Johnson. He comes in after 2 injuries, and you're talking your third string running back is as good, if not better, than your 1 and your 2. Heck, you've got something there. You got something real good there. And I really do think the key is a balanced attack. I know Carson can sling the ball for 40 yards downfield, 50 yards, 60 yards downfield. He can shoot it. But I think the balance is don't have him shooting the ball all the time. Because at some point he's going to shoot himself in the foot, and they could walk away. They could end up losing this game. But what I do see is there's a potential. If they balance the attack out, they hit Fitzgerald, they hit Brown, they hit Floyd. If they hit all these guys a little bit on a balanced occasion, and they also hand the ball to David Johnson and get him 15, 20 touches, then there you go. You got the balance. Win the battle on time of possession, and you got yourself a champion. And I believe if they keep that balanced attack, the Arizona Cardinals will walk away with the NFC Championship, and they will go to the Super Bowl. Now for the AFC, we've got 2 upset teams. I'm picking 2 upset teams to go to the AFC Championship game, and we've got 2 going in. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Cincinnati Bengals. We've got a potential winter matchup. This is going to be late January, and in Cincinnati. This is up in the north. We got a team from the southern region of Missouri coming all the way up to the northern region of Ohio, or to just about the southern tip of Ohio. Sorry about that. So what we've got here is a potential winter game with 2 good defenses. And I'd say about, at this point, because we don't know who the quarterback is, I'd say about 2 pretty conservative offenses. I think the way Marvin Lewis and Hugh Jackson run this game on offense is they're going to pull, just kind of hone it back. You're getting Andy Dalton right off of injury back on the field, or you're getting A.J. McCarron, a young guy, on the field in his first AFC Championship game. Both guys would have been in their first AFC Championship game. And you've got them going against Kansas City Chiefs, who have one of the better pass rushes in this game. In this case, this is a matchup where it's a flip of a coin. Do you go with the Bengals because they could potentially do something downfield, or do you go with the Kansas City Chiefs, who have a very kind of conservative offense? They're not known for it, but they've done their job. And I'd actually have to say, I originally was going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals because I felt like they had some explosion, and I think they had some very good defense and very good offense. And I think I'm going to turn my pick actually over into the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Kansas City Chiefs will make it to their first Super Bowl since Super Bowl, I believe it was like 3 when they won. 3 or, yeah, I think it was actually Super Bowl 4. They will make it back to their Super Bowl. And now we go to the Super Bowl matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Arizona Cardinals for the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Now, here's the thing. The key matchup here is, because we know what the offenses are. We have the Arizona's explosive offense versus the Kansas City Chiefs conservative offense. We have a conservative versus an aggressive offense. And in defense, we've got a matchup of more of a top-tier front seven who can bring pressure. Now, the Arizona Cardinals can bring pressure, but the Kansas City Chiefs have more of those guys that are built for that. But the Arizona Cardinals, they have the better cover guys. I think in this case, you have the capability of Patrick Peterson lining up with Jeremy Maclin. You have Dayon Buchanan, the safety in Arizona, coming down, and if he has to, he'll cover that tight end. If he doesn't have to, my gosh, he can come down and bring pressure. We've got the other corners, we got that. That's a matchup there. I think the matchup is going to be key on the defensive side of how they match up. And I would actually give the edge to the Arizona Cardinals, and they will win their first Super Bowl in franchise history. All right, tell me what you think about those predictions. Tell me what you think about those playoff pushes. And thank you for watching this video. Be glad to see you again. Goodbye.